e4, e4 by advancing their pawn, controlling the center, and opening up lines for their light-squared bishop. 1. e5, black responds symmetrically, also controlling the center and developing their own pieces. nf3, white develops their knight to an active square, attacking the black pawn on e5. 6. Black defends their pawn. This move is not most popular in this position, as it blocks the development of their own knight on g8. bc4, white develops their bishop, attacking the knight on f6, which is defending the e5 pawn. 3-6, black develops their knight, controlling the important d4 square and preparing to castle kingside. d3, white reinforces the central e4 pawn and prepares to develop their other. 4. nf6, black develops a bishop-knight battery, preparing to castle kingside and put pressure on white's pawn. Attacks the f7 pawn, which is weak because black's knight on d4 is no longer defending it. 7. Black defends the f7 pawn with their bishop, but this move allows an interesting tactical sequence that will on the next move. nx f7, white sacrifices their knight to gain 2 pawns and open up the black king position. 6. qd7, black develops their queen, threatening to take the undefended bishop on c4. nx h8, white takes the knight on h8 with their queen, putting them ahead in material. 7. nd4, black attacks the white knight with their own knight, which is supported by their queen. c3, white attacks the queen and prepares to develop their light-squared bishop. 8. b5, black decides to sacrifice a pawn to attack the cxd4, white takes the pawn on b5 with their c3 pawn, maintaining their material advantage. 9. bxc4, black recaptures the pawn, opening the c-file for their rook. White reinforces their central pawn structure and prepares to castle kingside. 10. exd4, black puts some pressure on the central e4 pawn, which is now defended only by the white. qxd4, white develops their queen, attacking the undefended bishop on 11. bb7, black develops their light-squared bishop, defending the pawn on e5. nc develops their knight, preparing to castle kingside and possibly putting pressure on the black pawn on e5. 12. c5, black attacks the white bishop and creates an open line for their own bishop on a6. qe3, white moves the queen out of harm's way and prepares to connect their 13. black castles queenside, which is a risky move but also makes their safer in the e5, white attacks the black bishop and opens up a diagonal for their own bishop on c. 14. dxe5, black decides to take the pawn, opening up lines for their own. qxe5, white moves the queen to e5 to attack the black rook on h8 and threaten mate on 8. 15. rxh8, black decides to sacrifice their rook, as taking the queen with their king would lead to a worse position. White castles kingside, putting their king on a safer square and preparing to connect their. 16. bd6, black develops their bishop, attacking the white queen and creating threats on the long diagonal. qg5, white moves their queen out of danger and prepares to coordinate their pieces. 17. rg8, black moves their rook to a better square, preparing to attack. bf4, white develops their bishop, attacking the black knight and making it harder for black to attack the white. 18. bxf4, black takes the bishop and creates an open file for their own. White recaptures with their queen and maintains their material advantage. 19. qc6, black attacks the white pawn on f2 and creates threats on the g2. qf3, moves their queen to safety, avoiding checks and preparing to coordinate their pieces. 20. qxf3, black trades queens, which is generally good when behind in material. gxf3, white takes with their pawn, which maintains their extra material and creates a protected pass. 21. bxf3, black takes a pawn and tries to create threats on the king. Re1, white develops their rook and prepares to take control of the e5. 22. re8, black develops their rook and puts pressure on the rxe8 plus nxe8, white takes back with their rook, creating a strong control over the open e5. 1 rupee, white develops their rook to an active square and puts pressure on the black. 24. nd6, black develops their knight and defends the c4. Re3, white moves their rook to create a battery with their queen on the e-file, preparing to attack the black. 25, bc6, black moves their bishop to a better square, defending against potential threats from the white. Re6, white attacks the black knight with their rook, putting more pressure on the c4. 26, kc7, black moves their king to safety, avoiding potential checks from the white. Re7 plus kb6, white moves their rook to the 7th rank, putting more pressure on the black. Rxg7, white takes back control of the g-file and creates potential threats on the king. 28, nxc4, black takes a pawn, which creates an isolated passer pawn for Rxh7, white takes back the pawn with their rook, protecting the pass. 29, nxb2, black tries to create threats by attacking the weak pawns on the f4, white advances their passed pawn, creating immediate threats on the black. 30, nd3, black moves their knight to a better square, creating the possibility of jumping to c4. f5 to advance their passed pawn and create threats on the black. 31, ne5, black moves their knight to the center, where it can create both sides. f6, white keeps pushing the pawn, threatening to promote it into a queen. 32, ing6, black moves their knight to stop the pawn and defends the h8. f7, white continues to push the pawn, threatening to promote it into a 33, nf8, black moves their knight to a safe square, where it can keep defending against potential threats. rh8, white takes control of the open h-file, creating potential threats on the black. kc7, black moves their king to a safer square, avoiding potential checks from the white rook. Rxf8, white takes the black knight, further increasing their material advantage. kd7, black takes back with their king, which creates a weak square on d6. rg8, white takes the black king for a decisive checkmate, ending the game.